Welcome back, pioneers. We are so incredibly glad you are here with us as we open up Lesson 1. This lesson is all about building a solid bridge from the traditional banking and Bitcoin concepts you might already know, over to the beautiful, newly emerging global asset ecosystem.
That's right, Rose. We call this lesson Moving Beyond Bitcoin because while Bitcoin opened the world's eyes to what digital networks could do, the technology has evolved by leaps and bounds since then. Today, we start right at the root of it all, the evolution of money itself.
If you think about it, money has always been a reflection of human trust and convenience. Thousands of years ago, humanity bartered with physical items. Eventually, we moved to rare commodities like gold and silver because they held intrinsic value and couldn't just be created out of thin air.
But carrying heavy bags of gold around wasn't exactly practical for daily commerce. So, governments created a solution. They began issuing paper receipts that represented that physical gold safely sitting inside a vault. Over time, governments completely unlinked those paper receipts from the gold, shifting us entirely into what we use today, fiat currency, backed simply by the public's trust in a centralized government.
And now, we find ourselves right in the middle of the next logical leap. Just as paper money replaced heavy gold, secure digital ledgers are stepping up to solve the massive inefficiencies, high costs, and slow processing times of traditional paper and legacy electronic banking systems. A massive structural shift is happening right now because the old systems simply cannot keep up with a fast-moving world.
When people first realized that money was going digital, Bitcoin was the first breakthrough to hit the mainstream. It introduced the world to the concept of a decentralized ledger. Many people today still look at Bitcoin as the ultimate cryptocurrency, often calling it digital gold.
And that digital gold label is actually a perfect analogy, but maybe not for the reason most people think. Think about physical gold for a moment. It is heavy, it is slow to move, it takes days to settle a transfer across the world, and it is highly speculative. You wouldn't buy a cup of coffee with a fraction of a gold brick, right? Bitcoin acts the exact same way. It is slow, its fees can be incredibly high when the network gets busy, and its value bounces up and down wildly based on speculation.
Exactly. Bitcoin proved that a secure, decentralized network could work, but it wasn't built to handle the global economy's daily transactions. That is where the new financial networks step in. Instead of acting like a speculative asset, these modern networks are built to act like ultra-fast, secure, digital train tracks. Their sole purpose is to move value around the entire planet in 3 to 5 seconds, for fractions of a single cent, with absolute stability. We are moving away from speculation and moving toward real-world utility.
One of the most powerful things running on these new digital tracks is a concept called asset tokenization. If you have never heard that term before, don't let the word intimidate you. It is actually a beautifully simple concept that is completely revolutionizing how the world views ownership.
To understand tokenization, just picture a massive, incredibly valuable apple pie. Let's say this pie represents a high-value real-world asset, like a commercial apartment building, a massive plot of agricultural land, a vault of physical gold, or even a thriving business. In the old financial system, if you wanted to own a piece of that asset, you had to buy the entire pie, or at least a massive, expensive slice that regular, everyday people simply couldn't afford.
Tokenization changes the game completely. It takes that real-world asset and, using a secure blockchain ledger, legally divides that pie into millions of tiny, digital fractions called tokens. Each token represents a precise, waterproof record of fractional ownership of the underlying physical asset.
This means that anyone, anywhere in the world, can now buy a tiny, affordable fraction of high-value assets that were previously completely out of reach. It levels the playing field, removes expensive middlemen like brokers and holding companies, and allows global assets to be traded instantly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Now, you might be wondering, if we are removing the middlemen like banks, lawyers, and escrow companies, who is making sure these digital transactions are legal, fair, and protected? The answer lies in the future of law, Smart contracts.
Don't let the word contract make you think of boring, 50-page legal documents written in fine print. A smart contract is simply a digital agreement written in secure computer code that automatically executes itself, but only when very specific, pre-agreed conditions are met.
Think of a standard vending machine. It operates entirely on an automatic if-then rule. If you walk up to the machine and insert $2, then the machine automatically releases the bag of chips to you. There is no store clerk standing there, there is no manager approving the sale, and there is no risk of the vending machine taking your money and changing its mind at the last second.
That is exactly how a smart contract functions on a digital ledger. For example, if a buyer safely deposits the digital funds for a fraction of a tokenized house, then the smart contract automatically and instantly transfers the digital ownership title directly to that buyer's wallet. It is blindingly fast, entirely accurate, and completely eliminates human error, administrative delays, or the risk of someone trying to change the terms of a deal at the final hour.
It is a beautiful, self-protecting system. But for this entire new global architecture to actually work safely on a global scale, all of the world's banks, financial institutions, and digital ledgers have to be able to talk to one another perfectly, without any miscommunications. And that brings us to our final foundational topic for this lesson, ISO 20022.
It sounds like a rigid serial number or a piece of tech jargon, but ISO 20022 is simply a brand new, unified international standard language for financial messaging. Up until now, different banks in different countries use completely different, aging computer languages to send wire transfers. It was like a room full of people all shouting in different languages, requiring massive networks of corresponding banks to translate the messages along the way.
That clunky process is exactly why traditional international wires take days to arrive and cost so much money. ISO 20022 replaces that entire broken system. It acts as a single, highly structured, universal language that allows every traditional bank on Earth to communicate seamlessly, instantly, and directly with modern digital ledgers.
This universal language is the actual bridge connecting traditional finance to the secure infrastructure of the future. When you hear about massive global payment systems upgrading behind the scenes, this international data standard is the framework they are building upon to ensure every single transaction is clear, verifiable, and protected.
Look at how much ground we have already covered together. You now understand how money is evolving into secure digital ledgers. Why modern networks act as high-speed tracks rather than speculative assets like Bitcoin. How tokenization opens up fractional asset ownership to everyone. How smart contracts protect transactions automatically. And how ISO 20022 acts as the universal language making it all possible.
You have officially laid the groundwork, pioneers. Now that you understand the basic concepts of this new frontier, we are ready to dive directly into the physical machinery running it all. Join us in Lesson 2, where we pull back the curtain on the core infrastructure itself, the quantum financial system narratives, and the verified mechanics of the Stellar network. We will see you in the next lesson.